Sunken King? What's it
I
all
mean,
about?
the crown, those 3 crowns, those are used to belong to the Drown Greg's King Bandrick in the main game. So the player's mission is to basically search for those lost 3 clowns in each of the 3 DLCs.
Apart from the situations, which are obviously different, the environments in your 3 DLC, what else is going to be unique? Are there going to be unique new boss types in each? Is the difficulty going to be different across all 3? Tell me about that.
So the difficulty level of each DLC will be relatively higher than those other maps available in the main game.
Okay.
That is because we're pretty much assuming that the experienced Dark Souls 2 players will be able to access to each DLC. That is that, as a matter of fact, there's some certain conditions that the players need to meet in the game, the main game, in order to access to the 3 DLCs. That is to get the Ashen Hardcore in the game, and then at least visit the Undead Crypt. That is the conditions they have to meet. This is pretty much latter part of the game, so I believe that only experienced players will be able to access to the 3 DLCs. And also, not only that, but in addition to the main loot, we will be having a challenging route in each DLC.
So explain that, a challenging route. Okay,
Yes.
so you can go one way, the standard way, or you can take the really difficult path. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a difficult path.
Okay.
And we're assuming that most of the players will try to complete this challenging route by a co-op. So there's an interesting points that I want to highlight here, that we're expecting, although only a DLC purchaser will be able to access to most of the part of the each DLC, but there's an exception. That is the challenging loot. For this part, we're hoping that not only the DLC purchaser, but even non-DLC purchaser to be summoned by DLC purchaser in order to do a co-op. That is I believe this is a very interesting feature for the
So
DLC.
if you don't have the DLC, someone who does can summon you into their game.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
That's how it works.
How does that work in terms of the content, though? I mean, how will the person be able to be summoned into the game if they don't have the DLC installed?
Basically, how it works is it depends on the hardware, but in most cases, all Dark Souls 2 players will be downloading the compatibility pack.
Gotcha.
And DLC purchaser will be downloading additional unlock key to unlock the DLC content. That's how it works. So basically, everybody playing the Dark Souls 2 will have the same game data.
Yeah, so all the data is there. It's just you get access to it, basically, if you buy the DLC.
That is correct.
Excellent. That's a really cool idea. So with Dark Souls 1, you guys did produce DLC. You produced one massive, it was the Artorias of the Abyss, right? And that was a huge piece of DLC.
Yeah.
Should we expect that Crown of the Sunken King is of a similar size, or are you doing like 3 smaller bits of DLC?
In terms of the game volume, for example, the map name appearing in the game screen is about approximately 3 to 5 per each DLC stage.
Okay.
So it's similar to the Forest of Fallen Giants in the main game in terms of the game volume.
Okay.
But when you guys put all 3 DLCs together, the size of the 3 DLCs will become about like 1.5 times of the Artorias of the Abyss for the Dark Souls 1.
Okay. And do you purchase the DLCs like separately, or can you buy them all in advance, or how does that work?
Good question. We're not going to be forcing players to download all 3 DLCs. It's up to players which DLC they actually download. Even the turns that we're not going to forcing players to play DLCs in certain turns. It's up to players.
Okay.
But it depends on the platform. But for some platforms, we're going to be offering a season pass, so the players can get 3 DLCs in a discounted price. And I really recommend to get all 3.
I'm shocked that you would recommend that.
That is because when players complete all 3 DLCs, there will be a big surprise. So I want people to experience this, big surprise.
Okay. Can we let's roll that B-roll again, actually, because I want to ask you a couple of questions just about the environment. Because it looks like you've got these underground pyramids. So where's the inspiration from that? Why did you go for these underground pyramids?
Again, the inspiration coming from the, having the situation which was not available in the main game, because, all 3 DLCs. Okay, as you can see, this is the the part of the stages from the first DLC. But it takes place at the pyramid. Something exists in South America, similar to those something exists in South America.
Okay.
So we want to offer totally different experience that the people couldn't experience in the main game by this DLC.
And what are you fighting here? What were those enemies?
Or
can you not say?
Go into details.
Can't go into details.
We'll see. But the unique features is that in regards to the first DLC, not only the enemies but also the stage itself is something the player needs to conquer. There will be a lot of gimmicks that the player needs to turn on in order to get to the final destination. So there's a lot of booby traps and gimmicks.
Can you tell me about this enemy, or is this?
In regards to the enemy, not only the enemy, but the items, weapons, spells, everything is brand new for each DLC.
Okay.
Because of that, so we're planning to adjust the the overall game balance when we release the DLC. So not only the DLC, but we're also going to be releasing the regulation file as well as the latest patch file every time we release DLC in order to adjust the the overall game balance.
Okay, excellent. So I mean, it is quite soon after the release of the main game. I mean, how did you guys manage to turn this around so quickly? How long have you had to work on this then?
Good question. Unlike the big DLC, the Artorias of the Abyss for the original Dark Souls, we have an issue with the the schedule. We want to offer this DLC as soon as possible to the players. So that's why we have decided to create 3 separate DLC. In that way, we can offer each DLC as soon as possible to the gamers.
Okay.